Okay, we're back. Black Dragon Modern Combat, Sifu David Akrish. I've changed my mind. Yes, I change my mind every once in a while. And I was going to do all the black or the Iron Black Tiger uh, concepts and techniques, and I'm not going to do that. I want to actually finish all of the different 20 key principles. So this is number 16, which is on something that some of you may know. And remember that this channel is for everybody. So if you're a beginner, this is for you. If you're, I always say, a hardened warrior elite, this is for you too. Because maybe you're not doing what I'm doing and applying it to the Mook Jong, which, boy, this is a never-ending stream of ideas and concepts and principles that I'm going to keep going with. So I'll probably do another 20 at another point. And I'm going to do a lot of application of ideas of animals, different systems and all that using the Mook Jong. Because, well, maybe you might have guessed, if you're someone who's not too new to the channel, is something I highly believe in. And my saying is, you do or you don't. And that means train on a Mook Jong. There's no in between. And so this is for everybody. Doesn't matter what the style it is. It isn't a Wing Chun channel or Wing Chun idea. In fact, this is my custom-made Mook Jong. And anyways, I want to say welcome to new subscribers. I'm getting some really great hits on some of the last ideas, concepts, which were, the last one was really intense one and something that is pretty powerful. Boy, the weather changes like within a second here in Albuquerque. So it's windy, cool, it's almost a full moon. And so the last one was directional intent. So you may want to go back and look at that. I would look at all 20 and put them together. If you're really interested in the Mook Jong, get a hold of me. Get a hold of me through blackdragonmoderncombat.com. It's all there, so there's nothing, we're in a phase of the world where there's no excuse on connecting with people from anywhere. So anyways, I want to introduce, yes, I've been bringing her, I was going to close this, I should get in here. My wife, Tia. It's real, not a figment of my imagination. No, who's been with me for years and decades,
right.
Training and background and knowledge, so
yeah.
She could talk about that. Why don't you just...
married for 22 years. I've been studying martial arts with David, well, since the beginning, since before we were married. That's actually how I met him. I was taking ballroom dancing lessons and had decided it was kind of a waste of time. I needed to do something more practical and something more true to my soul and spirit. Instead of just, not that ballroom dancing isn't fun, but anyways. Wanting to study martial arts. And I met him actually at work, and, well, we hit it off. I started by learning Wing Chun over 22 years ago. It's super windy here. I hope it's not picking up too much on the mic. But anyway.
It's moving the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not... I almost said something bad. Okay, so...
But I wanted to introduce, I'm studying to become a professional astrologer, a certified astrologer through the Royal Stars Academy. That's built by Ksenia Moore. She's actually out of Australia. And so many of the ideas of astrology are amazing. And, it's, of course, esoteric, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be any religion to study astrology. It's really just about studying patterns. And how those patterns, like night and day, which of course we understand how night and day relates to human beings and our physiological bodies, but the planets, of course, do also relate to us and our mental states and the energies of who we are. And so one of the interesting things about astrology that I have really found to be fascinating is the idea of Mars and the warrior spirit and your motivation and your activity and how you get things done. And, well, Dave and I both have Mars conjuncting our midheaven. And in different houses and in different zodiac signs. But we got, we've been married for a very long time. And especially with all of David's experiences, because I've actually been studying from him. I haven't been to a lot of different schools of thought in different teachers, unlike some of my other studies, like music, for instance. But, he has so many experiences in different types of people and how different people have approached martial arts. And some do it for exercise, and some do it for competition and things like that. So I thought it would be fun if we did a discussion talking about astrology and martial arts and the type of warrior, if you will, that you are, and understanding those energies of yourself better so that you could actually maximize that in your training, or understanding your motivations behind why you train in martial arts. And just clarifying those types of things and what your needs are, and our relationships to authority, to tradition, to innovation, and evolution. So there are so many things to talk about, even just the idea of male and female concepts, especially as it relates to martial arts. As a woman, I myself, of course, would very much like to see more women in martial arts. But it's a very interesting thing when you do see a lot of women in martial arts. Of course, they're taking on very male-type qualities. And Mars, of course, is a male planet. But does it have to be that way? And are there different ways to actually invigorate women in martial arts? So anyways, just looking at all these different concepts and stuff, hopefully it'll be something that all of you enjoy. We're talking about recording this like in late November during Thanksgiving break, and so publishing early December. So anyways,
Okay.
If anybody has any questions related to it or ideas, please let us know. I would be super interested just to hear about people's interest level and in what particular ways and avenues that you are interested, if you are. Anyway, so glad to be here. I do exist. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, some guy said something so nasty.
Yeah, there is some, of course.
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
He's
He's just jealous.
Jerks are a dime a dozen
F 'em.
on
Yeah.
YouTube and the internet.
Not on this channel.
That's not on this channel. That's nothing new. So,
Actually, it's been really clean for a while. I'm kind of getting nervous.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, back to your training.
I'm gonna go train.
Yeah.
See y'all next time.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, sweetie. Okay, so a couple things as I follow the same path of never, the terms never and always and all that. I'm going to talk about that a little bit when it comes to closing. And another thing about Tia is she's going to help me a lot. You're going to see her a lot more. So she's allotted time to help me with the channel on different levels, and part of it is I don't want to call it application. Well, actually, I'm going to do the Filipino stick stuff, so that will be an application, civil. Oh, thank you. Wow, that wind. Things, I'm telling you, things turn on a dime here. It's really cool. Application with what I really care about, which is civil combat training. And so civil. It is, that's part of the word. And so it is going to be an application, a mini series, I guess, just like with the Mook Jong on I think single stick. Maybe we'll do double stick later. But anyway, so Tia's going to help me with that. But we are going to do a sit down and talk about astrology. I actually look at astrology in the way that we're both partners with our business, Heaven and Earth. And I never bring it up, but it's our Chinese medicine business and Chinese medicine herbal business. And I'm going to talk about that too, and formulas to help, just to help you in your life, and to help for chi, and to help strengthen the blood and all that. So that's coming up too. This channel is, like I say, it's not even outside the box. There is no box. So we're bringing much different ideas that most people ever talk about. I like to, there is someone on there, on YouTube who's talking about Chinese medicine and herbal medicine and combat and training and all that. I'd like to see it because I haven't seen it. So I'm not ranking on it. I'm just saying it's not there. And I'm going to fill the gap. We're going to fill the gap of so many areas that are just kind of ripe for the taking. And but it's what we believe. We're not doing it just to do it because, it's open, so I'm just going to go there. It's because this is what we do and what we care about. This is what I really care about. And I'm going to do this the rest of my life. I think this channel is going to just keep going. So today's number 16. We're getting close to the end, at least the end of something. And I'm going to just talk about, okay, so let's go into the never and always thing. So it's on closing. So what's closing mean? It doesn't mean close, you know. It means traveling as you're executing some type of technique. So closing usually means, and I see this more, well, no, I don't want to say it was in non-classical. I'll just say it's in some systems a little more than others, but it's almost in every system because they're always moving some way in a kata or some type of technique. And not always. And so I will say, I use the always word there, that do you always have to close? Do you never close? Neither. So do you always have to turn your waist for power? Do you? No. And I've been talking about this. There's no real answer. Maybe there's no time. And can you generate power without doing certain things? Yes, you can. A big part of it, and I've been pushing this one, is relaxation. So just moving without minimal amount of movement. There's a million reasons why, and it is something that you train on, that a person can train on. In the first Wing Chun form, you kind of don't turn very much. I don't think you turn at all, and so it's very interesting. One of my teachers said it's like your back is against the wall, and maybe that was metaphorically, literally, you know, now that I think about it. And you're up against the wall, you can't go backwards. So, and you can't really, maybe you can't, well, in the training, you're not rotating. So you're finding, it's really about finding, scalping down certain movements, or just the way your body moves. So so how your body moves. And it's funny because I watched, I'm teaching someone who was in Wing Chun, I think 30 years ago, restarting again. It's very interesting. So it's kind of cool. But I'm looking at a lot of the Sifu Dao and going over the form, because I do classical and non-classical, both. I connect them both. And in the form, or I watch a lot of forms, and boy, there's a lot of variances, and there's a lot of things, I'll be honest with you, it's been watered down. And so I'm going to go over, and my wife said, and I already thought about this, is doing maybe 10 problems that I see in the Sifu Dao form. So that's going to be interesting, controversial, I don't care. But anyways, in the form, if you don't know anything about it, you're not really moving. Now, is it realistic? Is it just a way to learn something, then you move later? Or do you not have to close? Do you not have to do any footwork? And I'm saying you don't. Maybe there's a moment when you don't. You're sitting at a table, someone's really harassing you, and you can't get up and move around or whatnot, but the hand can come up and the fork can go in the potato. So I train for everything. I don't limit any ideas. I train with every idea. I train moving, not moving, twisting, not twisting, animal forms, traditional, non-traditional, let loose. I let loose. And so, again, that's what this challenge is about. But this is about closing. So do you always have to close? No. Can you just go, oh, I'm here, and oh, I just need to do something. And I always use the palm because it's a great way to show. So I'm palming. You can call it whatever you want. But you can get a pretty good amount of flow and kinetic energy without closing or turning your waist, rotating. But it is, so a lot of times when I see people doing the Mook Jong, they're just standing still and they're doing whatever it is. And I'm going, okay, that's cool. But you can use it in a different way. So let's say you want to practice closing, because that's what this is about. So then what I talked about, or I'm sorry, I haven't talked about it, but what I've taught in the past is a ratio between how many times your hand moves through different ideas versus your foot. And so you can even get 3 upper body movements to 1 foot movement. So 3-to-1 ratio. So I go by ratios. So, and then there's different timings between those ratios. But this isn't a class on that. This is just the idea of using the Mook Jong when you're maybe just a little bit out of we'll say where you want to feel like you're striking, like where you're a little bit closer and getting more behind, you know, a vertical punch or whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter. And so, I mean, there's many reasons why you want to close. Closing's scary for both the person you're closing on, because most people, things happen pulled away or dancing around, where honestly Wing Chun is a very closing type art, and closing the deal, we'll say. And so practicing where maybe you're out of that range, and the range doesn't have to be real far. It can be an inch, it can be 3 inches, but closing that range is and gaining that kinetic power, kinetic movement, velocity, even 2 or 3 inches is a pretty big deal. Even 1 inch, just moving a little bit from here to here is a pretty big deal. And so, so you can use the Mook Jong for that. So I'm going to do the very first movement 1-to-1 as I move in. So I'm just going from here and I'm stepping through, and then I'm going to do another move and then another. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 1, I'm going to step, close, and then we'll just do something here, and then a back fist. The point is, I'm practicing going from here to there, connecting my body, and closing. Now, maybe this is a little bit different. I don't close, and then I close. So these are 2 different ideas. You're waiting, and I've talked about this on timing and distance and in other videos, where I'm going to stop something. I'm not going to twist or turn. All I have is the moment that something's coming. And if you're the grace of your abilities, you stop something, and then you build your velocity by stepping or stepping in and then doing whatever, a punch. Don't worry about the technique ideas here. It's not what this is about. Now, that's 1. So waiting, stepping in. Maybe I'll make it simpler. I'm striking, then I do a second one. So the first one, there's no movement. Second one, there is. First one, I'm stepping, and then I'm doing the next part. A third idea, and it's funny because in one of my schools, movement was a huge, it was like advantage. So it's like, oh, you get to step, oh. And I understood that. I was like, yeah, because a long time ago, someone showed me, he said, you know, I was in Charlie Fight, and he goes, it was so funny, he was a dentist, and he goes, well, what do you do, or something? And I said, I'm in this Kung Fu class, but it wasn't for me, it was for my mom. And he goes, oh, and he's a young guy, real big guy, and he says to me, let me show you after, I'm a Wing Chun or Jeet Kune Do or something. And I was like, oh. He goes, you don't have to move very far to really get devastating power. And I'm like, I agree to him. And he said, our philosophy is to kill an ant with an atom bomb. And things you never forget. So I'm like, okay, I like that a lot. And he had me hold up a phone book. Some of you may not know what a phone book is, but I was holding up a phone book, and he showed me first just the initial step with, like an initial step, and go, look how much power I can get. I'm like, whoa. I mean, it was good. I was like, this is great. But I already knew, I was practicing Wing Chun, but I always play it down and don't try to act like I know everything. And I'm like, that's awesome. He was really good at it. Then he said, if I really don't like the guy, so this is the third part, he stepped through with his back foot. So I call it cross foot. So here's my back foot, and I'm crossing into the front foot. And he goes, that's when we really don't like the other person, or it's life and death, or whatever it is. So, so closing is pretty incredible, and the Mook Jong is a really great place that you can move in, do your closing. I could do an initial step, and then shift, and here my back foot's not completely forward, and then step in. So that was a 2-to-1 ratio. The first was 1-to-1. I'm stepping in 1-to-1, and then moving. Trying to do this too fast, and then moving with a 2-to-1 ratio, or just closing, just moving in. Don't worry about the hand stuff or all that or whatever. That's not what this is about. It's about moving as you're flowing your techniques, and closing. And closing is pretty is pretty much of a committed idea, though you should be able to move in and out or whatever. But closing's a pretty big deal, and this is something that the Mook Jong affords you. So like right there, I did both. I did the lead foot, I did the rear foot. Maybe I just do the rear foot. I didn't do the lead foot. And I flowed myself through with the back foot. Playing through with the back foot. I can only do so much with this camera, so I can't do the footwork and show you. And that's not what this is about. This is for you to do your own thing. I'm not telling you which way to put your foot, or lead foot, or straight on, or 45 degrees, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You do what you need to do. Watch maybe some other videos, somebody else, you know. But it's just, this is a concept that, there I did 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I finally landed. 1, 2. I'm stepping, doing 3, and then I'm finally landing. I can even do 4. 4, and then land on number 4. So you can go crazy with it. Yes, you're off balance, you're on one foot, but if you're committed and your upper body's doing something, I think it's, I don't want to say it's safe, but it's a safer bet that you can be kind of scary to somebody who's not used to someone closing in. Most watch sparring, it's in and out, it's going backwards, and we're not sparring here. This is closing. This is combat, and this is making a huge commitment to whatever you're doing, and it could be a big advantage for someone going against somebody who's bigger, because if someone's bigger and stronger, you're in their power range. But if you close in, you might have a better chance, or it might be scary. You might go, oh, this guy's really aggressive. You may get the end goal that you're looking for. So that's another concept and idea of even leaning. I consider, be honest, closing. So I'm not even stepping, but I'm leaning and moving in. And I forgot that was going to be something I wanted to bring up. So just leaning. So from here to here, and you don't lead with your head. You're leading with your body. But of course your head's going with it, but you're making a commitment forward. And honestly, I was almost thinking of doing our video, or even saying at the very end, of counter closing. What does that even mean? It's like I'm moving backwards as I'm striking forward. And in Kendo, that's a technique, a really amazing sword technique, where that you're like, I'm moving backwards by hitting forward. So I'm moving back and doing like a shomanuchi, hitting forward, and it's hikiwaza. And so it's a really, it's kind of an interesting idea. And I think it could happen here. I have a movement in the street kendo, or the other part of my school, which is using the kendo, the shinai, and the whole Japanese side. And it's where you're moving backwards, rechanging your footwork, and moving back forward again. So that one's calling like gaining up the fire. So I'm building the fire. I'm still striking forward and coming back in, because maybe you do need to move back a little bit at some point in time. You're just overwhelmed, you got caught, whatever it is. You never know. Remember my posse, you don't know what's going to happen. But I will say this, and I'm not going to say you always do this or never do this. I have to end with this idea. But even if you're moving backwards, do something with forward. With even it's a weird thought, but forward energy as you're shifting backwards before you gain and up. I call it upbearing the fire, and then re-moving back in. And so reclosing. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe nobody ever knows what's really going to happen. Maybe you're moving backwards and you're striking with a stick and you crack someone in the wrist, and it's over. And you got out of the way. It was dangerous, and think you did what you had to do, and everything was done. So nobody ever knows. Some people have a high pain tolerance, drugs involved. Nobody knows. You hit the perfect nerve spot, and it's you paralyze somebody's arm, the nerve system, and you just don't know. So, but anyway, so closing on the Mook Jong, and even if it just means just a little bit of movement forward. One last thing I want to say is, I was saying leaning. but I didn't really mean lean. Well, if you're not, I mean, you can stay upright and move in, okay? So that's one thing, very Tai Chi-ish, teacup on the head. But it just depends. Maybe you can lean in. You have to lean in to get to something, and only you can determine that. So, but for the most part, when we're moving in, we're keeping our spine and energy and our chi straight up and down, like Tai Chi. Okay, or a lot of Kung Fu or katas or Japanese kata, it doesn't matter. A lot of it, you're straight up and down. There's a reason for it, especially Kendo. Kendo, you're not really leaning that much. When you're Hikiwaza, you're kind of keeping your head up. You're not leaning forward or leaning back. It's just kind of, I'd almost say it's martial arts basics kind of 101 in a sense. But then again, I always say there's a never and there's an always and there's like whatever. I'll add a third one. So that's tonight's video. I'm glad Tia got to introduce herself, and I always seem to hit the 30-minute mark. And we're under, so that's cool. Thank you everybody for watching these videos. They always say I'm riding my own wave, and they kind of go a long time, and I got a lot to say, so I'm going to say it. Alrighty, have a great evening, and we'll see you on number 17. So I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out. Take care.